Episode 4 of The Rings of Power. The Queen Regent is a baby lover. She loves to do the blessing of babies because not only is she the Queen Regent, but she's a priest. Too bad what we're witnessing right now isn't actually happening. It's a dream, and a dream that quickly turns into a nightmare because the Queen Regent envisions Numenor being hit by a massive tsunami. And we're snapped back to reality where people are gathering in the town square complaining about the elf. That elf being Galadriel. There is a gentleman who recently got beat up. He's saying, look, the elves are going to be taking our jobs, and that is just not going to be okay. So he's fairly politically incorrect, but don't worry, because the next guy, that being Scruffy Face, is absolutely after those elves. He says, look, don't worry, guys. This is a town for men. This is a city for men. There are going to be no elves here. Don't worry. They're not going to be taking your jobs. You have job security. He's basically like Joe Biden. Actually, that doesn't make any sense. Luckily, we kind of get tantalized over here on the side because Scruffy Face's son is hitting on Isildur's sister. Yeah, that's right. Sis Isildur's getting a little action. But she is not having it because she is training to be in the guild. He tries to offer her a glass of wine and she says, look, I'm working, F off. Next, Galadriel is presenting her findings to the Queen Regent and Elendil is getting dumped on.
I suppose Elendil here is a runic emperor.
It's the petty lord, actually.
The Queen Regent says, look, these are great findings, but why the heck did you take Galadriel over to the Hall of Lore? Galadriel says, look, ma'am, you need to give me an army so I can go to Middle-earth, so I can go to the Southlands and destroy Sauron. The Queen Regent responds with, look, you entitled brat, that's not going to happen. Then Galadriel says, take me to your manager because you don't hold the power. And after that, the Queen Regent has had enough. She throws Galadriel straight into prison, where she belongs.
Right to jail, right away.
Next, Isildur's on a ship because he's training to be a seaman. Unfortunately, Isildur's kind of depressed, and he doesn't want to be a seaman. So he lets one of the ropes go that he's supposed to be holding, and him and his friends get kicked out of the academy. One of his friends gets so upset that he punts this bedpan 5 feet. And then his friend's toe hurts so much that he gets up in Isildur's face and says, you effed up my life, you effed up all of our lives. And then Isildur's just more depressed.
I have crippling depression.
Next, we see Arondir, who we thought was captured by Papa Orc, but this individual ended up being Papa Elf, and he works for Sauron. Papa Elf has a special mission for Arondir to go tell the people in the tower that they have a decision to make. So Papa Elf lets Arondir go. At this tower, Arondir's Juliet is there, and she is leading the entire village because, after all, she is the most badass person in town. It turns out the people at the tower are running out of food, so she's got to make a decision. Where are they going to get the food from? She says, look, we're just going to scour the countryside and we're going to find the food. Her son has an idea to go into town and grab food since it's daylight out and the orcs are probably not going to be out. The only problem with that idea is orcs may actually hide inside, seeing that there's shade inside.
I'm kind of retarded.
Needless to say, Juliet says, hells to the nah, you're not going out there. But her dumbass son says, okay, and does it anyways. Him and his best friend rustle up some grub around town, but of course he's got to go back and check to see if he can get anything else from the tavern. So he goes into the tavern and starts collecting grain and then is attacked by an orc. So he's forced to use Sauron's sword to fight off the orc. He escapes out the back door, jumps into a well, and we cut to Elrond talking to his superior who might actually be checking him out. His superior says, look, we haven't heard from Doran in a while, and I think it'd be good for you to get in contact with him. So Elrond heads over to Doran's house and interrogates Doran's wife about his whereabouts. Doran's wife gives Elrond the runaround and then goes out and chats with Doran on the bridge. But joke's on them, Elrond can hear them. So Elrond finds out where Doran is, goes to that location, figures out that there's a secret door, instantly knows the combination, gets through the door, meets Doran, and is like, hey man, haven't seen you for a while. And Doran says, look, I'm working on a big project. You're going to have to place your hand on this mountain and swear to me you're not going to tell anyone frickin' else what's going on here. Elrond, of course, puts his hand on the mountain and swears, and Doran shows him what he's been mining. It happens to be MrReRe. But all of a sudden, the mine shaft where the rest of Durin's party is digging collapses. And we're back in Numenor where Isildur's sister, or Isildur, is sketching. She's slacking off when she's really supposed to be working for the Guildmaster. And when she gets up, she just happens to bump into Scruffyface's son. And Scruffyface's son lands a smooth pickup line on her, one which she is unable to resist.
Scrubbing is good for dexterity. Also, the Guildmaster says.
That's what she said.
So, how about this? I'll do the floors and you do the goblets, and the last one to finish pays for dinner.
I'm not in the habit of going off with strange young men.
Very wise. If I see any, you'll be the first to know.
Back in the dungeon, Galadriel is chatting up her sidekick LeFou, and LeFou says, hey, have you ever thought that you're a little abrasive? Galadriel says, heck no, I am not abrasive, I'm the best. To which LeFou responds, okay, well, let me give you a pointer. Instead of asking for everything, try to solve people's problems, and then they'll be more willing to help you out. Galadriel has very little time to think about that advice because Scruffyface comes into the dungeon with 4 guards and tells Galadriel she's being shipped out tonight. Galadriel goes 1v4 mode on the guards, of course kicks their asses super hard, locks them in prison, and then escapes to go find the Queen Regent and her father. Of course, Galadriel is narcissistic, but it's warranted because she's able to scale the tallest tower in Numenor to enter the king's chambers. She finds the king, and the Queen Regent has a little chat with the Queen Regent. The Queen Regent decides to show her some cool stuff, including Anduril and a Palantir. The Queen Regent says, hey, you gotta check out this Palantir, it's kind of insane. Galadriel says, look, I've already touched a bunch of balls in my life, and this will not be the first Palantir that I've laid hands on. The Queen Regent says, look, it's kind of crazy, just check it out. Galadriel touches the Palantir and is able to see Numenor's future. She sees the same thing that the Queen Regent saw in her dream, a massive tsunami hitting Numenor and destroying it. Galadriel, of course, recoils from this because she is a very good actress, and then implores the Queen again for help in defeating Sauron, to which the Queen responds, no. Again. Back in the village, Juliet's son is trying to escape at night from the orcs. Probably the smartest idea he's had yet. So he put some of his NPC dodging skills to the test, but it's not enough. He's finally captured by an orc, but of course he is saved by Arondir, who shows up just in the nick of time. Arondir and him then book it out of the village with a pack of wild-ass orcs on their rear. Lucky for them, none of these orcs can hit any shots. Arondir can literally catch arrows, and the sun comes up just in time for them to escape out of the woods. Back with the dwarves, Durin's wife is singing something melodious, which you must witness right now. She sings this as a prayer for the miners trapped in Durin's mining project. Elrond then gives Durin some advice because Durin's a little bit upset about his project going sideways, and he's afraid that his father is going to be very frustrated with him. Elrond lays on a little bit of a weird flex, saying that his father died and he wished he could talk to him, but he's too busy carrying the moon across the sky.
My father single-handedly sailed to Valinor, convinced the Valar to join the war and vanquish Morgoth. So great were his deeds that the Valar lifted him beyond the bounds of this world, to forever carry the evening star across the sky.
Elrond invites Doran to come with him to check on the forge that they're building together, but he says that he's got to go see his dad first because, hey, his dad could die soon. Doran goes and sees his father, where he asks him if he should go with Elrond and tells him that he'll shut down the MrReRe project. Doran's father tells him to go, and we're back at the tower with Romeo and Juliet. Arondir tells Juliet that Papa Elf has given him this message to relay, that they can either serve Sauron or they're screwed, which is not really much of a message if you ask me. That's pretty much understood. Also at the tower, we find out that the tavern keeper and Juliet's son are both horny for Sauron's sword. And back in Numenor, Galadriel is being sent off. It's a royal send-off. I'm not quite sure why everyone's here, but hey, it doesn't have to make sense, does it? And of course, as soon as Galadriel starts floating away, the petals from Nimloth, the tree in Numenor, start falling. And the Queen Regent realizes that she's made a big mistake. So of course she brings Galadriel back, and she ups the ante by pledging she will escort Galadriel to Middle-earth herself. Elendil then announces a volunteer opportunity for all of the citizens of Numenor. They can volunteer to go with the Queen Regent to escort Galadriel to Middle-earth. Of course, it's not confusing at all that they don't have an army, that they don't have anyone who is willing to do that anyways, or is paid to do that anyways, but whatever, they get a lot of volunteers, including Isildur, son of Elendil. And that was episode 4 of the Rings of Power